If your PS5 deserves more than a monitor that makes games look dull or doesn't take full advantage of smooth performance, the right upgrade can change everything. A great gaming monitor can make movement feel sharper, colors look more alive, and long sessions much more immersive. In this video, I'll help you understand which PS5 monitors are actually worth your money in 2026. We'll compare real-world picture quality, motion clarity, HDR experience, and how well each monitor fits into a console gaming setup. Whether you're playing competitive shooters at high frame rates or relaxing with cinematic story games in a dark room, this list will help you find the best match for your style and budget. Links to all of these monitors will be in the description below, so you can check pricing and details anytime. Starting at number 5, AOC Q27 G3X-MN. The AOC Q27 G3X-MN is one of the best options out there if you want a great PS5 gaming experience without spending OLED-level money. What really impressed me is the contrast. Thanks to the mini LED backlight, dark scenes look surprisingly deep and rich, so games feel much more immersive when you're playing at night. It also runs smoothly at 104Hz on the PS5, so fast shooters and action games feel responsive and fluid. For the price, the picture quality in a darker room is honestly fantastic, and it's one of those monitors that makes your console setup feel instantly upgraded. The main downside is that it doesn't have HDMI 2.1, and you can sometimes notice a bit of black smearing in fast scenes, like a slight shadow trail behind movement. Still, my verdict is simple. For the money, it's an amazing value monitor with a picture that punches way above its price. At number 4, Gigabyte M27U. The Gigabyte M27U is a really solid match for the PS5 if you want smooth 4K gaming without going into crazy expensive territory. In everyday use, it delivers a clean 120Hz experience over HDMI 2.1, and you immediately feel that difference in games like Call of Duty or Spider-Man, where motion just looks more fluid and responsive. What I like about this monitor is that it feels simple and practical. You plug in your PS5 and it just works the way you want it to. It even has this strange dual mode that can switch to 1080p at 30-20Hz, which is basically useless for PS5, but it's there if you ever move to PC gaming later. The honest downside is the HDR. It's pretty basic, so don't expect those super bright cinematic highlights that you'd get from an OLED or mini LED screen. My verdict: this is a fantastic value pick for smooth 4K PS5 gaming, as long as you don't need mind-blowing HDR. At number 3, Sony InZone Air M9 II. The Sony InZone Air M9 II feels like the most PS5-friendly monitor on this list. Sony clearly designed it to pair perfectly with the console, and features like auto HDR tone mapping make setup feel almost effortless. You basically plug it in, start a game, and it just looks right without much tweaking. In real use, the image is bright, clear, and really sharp, which makes it great for both story games and competitive play. I also appreciate that it has surprisingly decent speakers for a monitor, which is nice if you don't always want to wear a headset. The downside is the local dimming. In darker scenes, you can sometimes see blooming around bright objects, and for a similar price, OLED options give you much better contrast. Still, my verdict: if you're a die-hard PS5 player who wants a simple plug-and-play gaming monitor made for the console, this is a really solid choice. At number 2, MSI MPG31URX. The MSI MPG31URX is where things start getting seriously next level for PS5 gaming. This monitor feels perfectly built for the console, with full HDMI 2.1 support, so you're actually getting the smooth, high refresh 4K experience the PS5 is meant to deliver. What really stood out to me is how clean and crisp everything looks in motion. Fast action feels insanely responsive, and the QD OLED colors are so vivid they almost jump off the screen. It's the kind of monitor that makes even familiar games feel fresh again because the picture just looks that good. The only weird downside is that in a bright room, the blacks can take on a slightly purple tint, and you may need a firmware update right out of the box, which is just an annoying extra step. My verdict: if you want a true premium PS5 monitor that ticks almost every box, this one is an absolute monster. At number 1, Asus ROG Swift PG30U CDM. The Asus ROG Swift PG30U CDM is honestly the closest thing to a final boss monitor for the PS5. The moment you see a game running on it, you understand why it sits at number 1. The picture quality is just unreal. The blacks look truly perfect, the colors are vibrant, and everything has this depth that makes other screens feel kind of washed out. In real life, it's the type of monitor that makes story games look cinematic and competitive games feel incredibly sharp and responsive at the same time. I've used it across different titles, and it's genuinely hard to find any real weakness in the gaming experience. The only downside is the price. It's expensive, and your wallet will definitely notice. My verdict: if you want to see what PS5 games are really supposed to look like, and budget isn't holding you back, this is the one to beat.